Hey everyone, my name is Anne and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to crochet this really easy sweater. I'll be making a small in this video, but sizes X small to 3X large are included in this tutorial as well, and also in the written pattern that I'm going to link down below in the description box. But here are the supplies you're going to be needing for this project. So this is all of the yarn and supplies that you're going to be needing for this project. Over here I have my category for yarn in the color white, and I've already started using it, so this is what the packaging looks like on the outside. With your yarn, you're also going to need any kind of ruler to measure. You're also going to need a 5mm hook, as well as a large tapestry needle for seaming. And then lastly, you can have any kind of pair of scissors. Once you have everything together, we're now going to get started on working on the pattern, and we're going to begin with the front and back panels. So let's go ahead and get started. So now we're going to get started on working this pattern. Over here I have my 5mm hook, and this is my category for yarn. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slip knot, and you can do this any way you would like. Once you have made your slip knot, we're going to begin this pattern with a chain of 76. So to make a chain, all you want to do is just yarn over with your hook and then pull through. Again, just yarn over and pull through until you have a total of 76 chains. So as you guys can see, I have finished working my chain of 76. Once you have finished your chain, we're going to begin on row 1. For row 1, we're going to skip this first chain, and inserting our hook into the second chain, we're going to do half double crochets. To work a half double crochet, you just want to yarn over, insert your hook into that second chain, then yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through all 3, and that is how we're going to be working our double crochet or half double crochets. Moving on to the second chain, I'm going to do this again. Yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, again yarn over, insert your hook into this next chain, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. Now you just want to continue on working these half double crochets into each chain all the way across. So I'm going to meet you guys back once I have reached the end. So I just finished working all the way down my chain, except this time I have left 8 chains at the end remaining. So this is where we did our double crochets, and then for the last 8 chains we're going to do something a little bit different. So into the next chain we're going to be working a single crochet. To work a single crochet, this is even easier than the half double crochet. I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2, just like this. Doing this again, you just want to insert your hook into that next chain, pull through, and then pull through 2. So this is 2 single crochets, and now I should have 6 single crochets at the end of my row. Once you have finished working all of your half double crochets and then your 8 single crochets, you do just want to chain 1 and turn. So I'm just going to chain 1 and turn my work. That chain 1 never counts as a stitch for the rest of our pattern. Moving on to row 2, we're going to skip this first turning chain and inserting our hook into this first stitch. We're going to first work 8 back bar half double crochets. To work a back bar half double crochet, instead of going into the first 2 loops as you normally would, we're only going to be inserting your hook into the back bar or the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Doing this again, instead of going into both of these loops, you just want to insert your hook only into this back bar, pull through, and then pull through 2. And now just do this for 8 stitches. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Once you have finished up your 8 stitches, for the rest of the stitches, we're now going to work back bar half double crochets, which is pretty much the same thing except we're doing half double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook only into this back bar, pull through, and then pull through all 3. Yarn over, insert my hook into that next stitch, pull through, and then pull through all 3. And now just keep on working this until the end of your row. So once you have finished working these back bar single crochets for the first 8 stitches and then the back bar half double crochets, you just want to chain 1 and turn. Now moving on to row 3, beginning into this first stitch or skipping this first turning chain, you want to do those same back bar half double crochets, and you want to do that all the way down your row until you have 8 stitches from the bottom remaining. Once again, to do these back bar half double crochets, just yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 3, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then pull through 3. Do this all the way down your row until you have 3 stitches at the end. Once you have worked these back bar half double crochets into each stitch all the way across your row until you have 8 stitches at the end remaining, into the next 7 stitches we're going to work those back bar single crochets. So I'll just do that with you guys. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now into the very last stitch of this row, you want to work 1 regular single crochet, and then just chain 1 and turn. So to continue this pattern for our front and back panel, all you want to do is just repeat those last 2 rows, which is row 2 and row 3, with these back bar single crochets and these back bar half double crochets, which is going to form the bodice and the border. And then you want to work those last 2 rows until you have a total of 36 rows in total. So I'm going to finish working up my 36 rows, and then I'm going to see you guys back once I am all done. So I have made it back here and I have just finished working up my 36 rows. I alternated my 8 single crochet stitches for our bottom border, and then I also worked the bodice with the back bar half double crochets until I had a total of 36 rows. Once you have made your entire bodice, you do just want to cut and fasten off once you reach the end. So I just cut off my yarn and then I just made a little knot, as you guys can see. Once you have 1 bodice, you do want to repeat this entire process 1 more time so that we have a front and a back bodice. I have already completed the second bodice, and I did exactly the same thing as we did before. We're now going to move on to working the sleeves, so let's go ahead and get started on the sleeves. So now we're going to be moving on to working the sleeves. The first thing I'm going to do is make a slip knot. After this slip knot, we're going to begin the sleeve with a chain of 69. However, you can make this chain however long you would want your sleeve to be. I'm just going to choose to make a full length sleeve, so I'll make a chain of 69. So after you have finished working your chain, I have 69 chains in total. Beginning on row 1, we're going to skip this first chain and insert our hook into the second chain. We are simply going to work these half double crochets into each chain all the way across our row. So I'm going to work that up and then I'll see you guys back once I have reached the end. So I just finished working these half double crochets all the way down my chain, except this time I left 8 stitches or 8 chains at the end of my row remaining. That's because we're going to be changing to our single crochets for the end. So once again, I'm just going to work 8 single crochets and then I'll chain 1 and turn my work. Once you have finished working these 8 single crochets, I'm just going to chain, turn my work around. Moving on to row 2, into this first stitch, I'm going to work 1 regular single crochet. Then into the next 7 stitches, we're going to work those back bar single crochets until the end, or just until 7 stitches, I mean. Once you have finished working these back bar single crochets, we're now going to be working back bar half double crochets, and you just want to work these stitches into each chain or each stitch all the way across your row, and then chain 1, turn your work. Once you have finished working these back bar half double crochets down your row, you can now chain 1 and turn your work. Now moving on to row 3, into this very first stitch, we're going to be working those back bar half double crochets, and you want to work these stitches until you have 8 stitches at the end of your row remaining. That's where we're going to do our single crochets. So I'm going to work this up, then I'll see you guys back once I'm almost at the end. Once you have these 8 stitches at the end of your row, you're going to work 7 back bar single crochets. Into the very last stitch, work 1 regular single crochet, chain 1 and turn your work. So to continue this pattern for our sleeve, you want to repeat those last 2 rows, alternating our back bar single crochets and our back bar half double crochets. And you want to repeat those rows until you have a total of 29 rows for your sleeve. So I'm going to work up my 29 rows and then I'll see you guys back once I am all done. So I have now made it back here with my 29 rows for my sleeve. You should be able to fold it over, and then this is basically what our sleeve is going to be looking like. Once you have completed one sleeve, you do want to repeat this process one more time, which I have already done over here. Once you have both of your sleeves, we're going to set these 2 pieces aside, and now we're going to get started on working the final piece, which is going to be the turtleneck. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So now we're going to be moving on to making the turtleneck, which is going to be the last section of our sweater. I'm going to first make a slip knot. Now from here, we're going to be making a chain of 23. Once you have finished making your chain of 23, skipping this first chain and inserting a hook into the second chain, we're simply going to be working single crochets into each chain all the way down our chain. Once you have finished working these single crochets all the way down your chain, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. Moving on to row 2, into this very first stitch, we're going to work one regular single crochet. Now into each into each, sorry, I cannot talk, into each stitch all the way across your row until you have one stitch at the end of your row remaining. You want to work the back bar single crochets into each stitch. Once you have finished working these back bar single crochets and you have one stitch at the end of your row, work once again one regular single crochet, chain and turn your work. So to continue this pattern for our turtleneck, you simply want to repeat this row, which is with our back bar single crochets, and you want to repeat that until you have a total of 57 rows for your turtleneck. So I'm going to work up my 57 rows, just repeating row 2, and then I'll see you guys back once I am all done. I have now made it back here working my 57 rows with these back bar single crochets for our turtleneck. I cut and fastened off once I reached the end. Now once we have both of our bodices, our turtleneck, and both of our sleeves, we're now going to move on to the very last step of this project, which is going to be seaming everything together in the assembly process. So now let's set everything aside, and now we're going to get started on that. So now we're going to be moving on to seaming our bodice together. Over here I have both of the front and back panels, and when we're seaming everything together, you do want to make sure that the bad side is facing us so that both of the good sides are facing us. So when we turn it out, the right side will be on the outside. So what we're going to do for the sides is that we're going to whip stitch all the way up, starting from the very bottom corner, come all the way up the side until you have 6.5 inches from the top remaining, and that 6.5 inches from the top is going to leave room for our sleeves that we're going to attach later. But to whip stitch, I have my tapestry needle and I have my yarn, and I'm just going to get a little bit closer for you guys. What we're going to do here is that I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of the first stitch and then into the back loop of the next stitch, and then just pull through. I'm going to come back around, insert my hook again into that back loop, and then into the back loop or back bar of the next stitch and pull through. Going into the next back loop and back loop of the next 2 stitches and pull through. Now, just as I mentioned, you want to keep on doing whip stitches just as I'm doing here to connect our front and back panels. And you want to do that until you have a measuring tape. And you want to come 6.5 inches from the top. So I'm going to come all the way down until I have 6.5 inches, and then I'll see you guys back once I am done. Now I have made it back here with my bodice all seamed up. What I did is that I seamed all the way up the sides, or I whip stitched all the way up the side until I had 6.5 inches from the top. Once you did one side, you of course want to do that for the opposite side as well. So we're not done seaming just yet. The next thing that you want to do is that beginning into the very top corners, you want to whip stitch all the way along the edge until you have a 3.5 inches. So you want to do that on both sides, going 3.5 inches this way, and then on this side go 3.5 inches this way. And then that should leave a nice head hole where we're going to attach the turtleneck to. But that's pretty simple. I'm just going to quickly do 3.5 inches and 3.5 inches, and then I'm going to see you guys back to eventually attach the turtleneck that we have made previously. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you guys back once I'm done. So I am back here with my sweater all seamed up. What I did to seam this is that I whip stitched all the way around the base and down the side for the turtleneck, and you can just flip that over in half to finish. The next thing that I did is that I whip stitched all the way down the two edges of the sleeve, and then the same thing that we did for the turtleneck, I whip stitched all the way around the armhole to join the sleeve to our bodice. I of course did that for the other side as well. I whip stitched all the way down the sleeve and then around the armhole to attach. Now that you have finished whip stitching everything together, that is pretty much the very end to our project. I hope to see you guys next time, so bye! If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. If you bought this pattern, it would be super helpful if you left a positive review. But that's all guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!